Hello, and thanks for tuning in to the Biodiesel Magazine podcast. This is your host, Anna Simet. Hope all my listeners are doing well. This episode is brought to you by Paul Corporation. And today we have back with us Colin Huwyler, founder of Optimus Technologies. And we had him on a couple of years ago. So glad to have him back. Colin, welcome, and thanks for chatting with us today.
Thanks. Excited to be back and share some updates.
Yeah, I think the best way to start today would be for our listeners who might not be familiar. Tell us a little bit about Optimus Technologies and what you guys do.
Yeah, at Optimus, we build technology to upgrade diesel engines to operate on 100% biodiesel. So commonly, engines are compatible up to about a 20% blend of biodiesel, and our technology removes that blend limitation, allows use of 100% biodiesel regardless of ambient operating conditions. Days like today where it's negative 10 degrees, we've got
Mm.
we've got trucks operating on B100.
It is really cold here too in Minnesota. Cold snap. So, like you just said, you've been focusing on enabling heavy duty diesel engines to run on B100. What are the biggest operational barriers that fleets today face when looking at switching fuels?
Yeah, so generally speaking, when you get into higher biodiesel blends, there's a couple technical challenges and a couple operational challenges. And what most fleets and most folks are commonly aware of with biodiesel is certainly its cloud point. So the fuel itself will gel at a temperature that's much higher than traditional diesel, and depending on what that fuel is made out of, it could be 30 degrees Fahrenheit, it could be 45 or even 50 degrees Fahrenheit for some animal fat-based fuels. And so our technology conditions and heats the fuel to ensure that regardless of the operating conditions, the fuel is suitable for use. But there's also some other technical aspects that provide difficulty for fleets. Biodiesel in higher blends isn't compatible with the modern emissions after treatment systems. So our technology enables use with engines that have things like particulate filters and SCR units, and then also from an engine oil standpoint, biodiesel can dilute an engine's crankcase oil. And so the way our technology works, we always use a little bit of diesel fuel for startup and shutdown of the engine, and that mitigates the engine oil dilution that can cause damage from biodiesel.
Okay, so how many units do you guys have on the road today? And why aren't there more? This just seems like an easy transition with this technology.
Yeah, so we have about 1,300 units that are
Mhm.
on the road today, and that's a combination of Class 8 trucks, snow plows, garbage trucks, things like that. Our
Mhm.
primary focus has been on-road assets. We do have a couple tractors and some off-road equipment, but there's two primary challenges that have really held back adoption, and our team's been working feverishly over the past few years to help overcome those. The first is generally fuel availability. So ensuring that
Mhm.
a customer has access to B100, again, because the most common use of biodiesel is low blends. Getting 100% biodiesel to the customer ends up being a little bit of a challenge, but we work with customers to deploy on-site fuel, and so we've really helped create a solution there that eases that transition. And then just this year, or I guess last year, we launched a partnership with Pilot Flying J to deploy 100% biodiesel at some of their travel center sites. And so that really alleviates the barrier for particularly commercial fleets that rely on those travel centers to fuel for most of their operations.
Oh, that's exciting, and it makes sense. Um, so Colin, to go from lower biodiesel blends to be able to use B100, can you talk more about the impact that has? And that can be on, anything from decarbonization targets, emissions, fleet cost reductions, give us the bullet list of benefits here.
Yeah, so each fleet has a slightly different kind of decision matrix for why they're interested in biodiesel. It could be, supporting domestic agriculture and particularly, soybean producers and biodiesel producers have been really challenged the past year. So whether it's increasing, domestic fuel use, sustainability targets, you mentioned decarbonization. Many of our customers are large corporate entities that have emission reduction, have carbon reduction targets. Biodiesel is a phenomenal, very easy, low cost solution to transition. And then there are certainly some economic advantages in regions where biodiesel is plentiful and where there might be a tax incentive or some other type of carbon credit program, California, Oregon, Washington, where there's actually an economic incentive to utilize biodiesel. So each fleet has a slightly different, decision-making strategy around why biodiesel is important. But one of the great things is, it really resonates across political parties, across rural and urban areas. Biodiesel is kind of a unifying strategy for helping, reduce emissions and boost domestic energy use.
Yeah, definitely. Colin, I do have some more questions for you. But first, we are going to break for a few words from our podcast sponsor, Paul Corporation. This episode of the Biodiesel Magazine podcast is brought to you by Paul Corporation, trusted by leading biofuel producers for 80 years. When fouling, clogged filters, or co-processing inefficiencies start cutting into your margins, Paul's filtration experts can make all the difference. Their tailored studies pinpoint contamination challenges before they escalate, keeping your systems efficient and your operations running. Ready to solve what's slowing you down? Schedule a custom lab or field study with Paul. Visit paul.com to schedule. All right, Colin. So the benefits of the vector system, of course, extend beyond fleet operators. Any thoughts on how this technology could impact biodiesel producers? They have had a tough year.
Biodiesel producers have certainly had a tough year. And, one of the benefits and one of the strategies that we have been working on and are partnering with a number of producers on is selling direct to the end user. Generally speaking, when you've got a blended product and you're relying on the petroleum infrastructure to get your product into a customer's fuel tank, there's multiple parties and there's some margin erosion as you move down the value stream. But because our customers are large fleet users that generally have on-site storage and infrastructure, they can take full fuel truckload deliveries on-site to their base of operations. And so there's an opportunity for fuel producers to start, diversifying their customer base a little bit, but also an opportunity for a little bit of margin uplift because they're selling direct to the end customer.
Right, that makes sense. Okay. How about EVs? Tell us more about the cost and benefits of implementing the vector system compared to, say, adopting EVs specifically.
Yeah, over the past few years, there's been, heavily subsidized programs and strategies to help particularly heavy duty fleet deployments of EVs. With the current administration, much of that has gone away. And when you look at the price point of an EV, generally we say, it can do about half to a third of the work of a traditional diesel engine, and it costs about twice as much. So with EVs, there's a big challenge as it pertains to just the general capital equipment costs to get the trucks in place, and then the infrastructure required for charging those vehicles and whatnot. And so with biodiesel, particularly with our technology, we can help fleets meet their objectives and do so in a much more cost-effective way. One of the nice things about our technology, we can upgrade existing trucks that are already in the field. So rather than having to replace a truck to get some emission reduction benefit, you can actually just upgrade existing trucks or assets that are already in the field. We also integrate with new engines as they get manufactured. So we work with most of the major OEMs, and we have ship through partnerships, so customers can order new trucks with our technology equipped from day one. And generally speaking, the technology is somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 installed. And so, it's a nominal upgrade cost for a truck compared to something like an EV, which might be 2 or 2.5 times the price of the base diesel vehicle.
Right. Wow. Those are some great points. So Colin, you guys announced a deal with Mitsui in December. Tell us more about that and what it might mean for you guys.
Yeah, we announced a strategic partnership with Mitsui based out of Tokyo. They are a large partner of us, and specifically the deal that we announced in December was a distribution agreement for them um, to take the vector system and take our B100 technology to Asian markets, uh, specifically initially focusing really on Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and India, where there is significant biodiesel availability. There's strong policy in country for expanded production, and they're really craving a technology like ours that can help them elevate their blend usage. So, a number of those countries are experimenting with B30, B40, running into some technology limitations. And so the partnership with Mitsui allows us to have a strong regional partner to distribute the vector system to help grow and advance 100% biodiesel use in those countries.
Well, that's really exciting. Congratulations to you guys on that. Um, Last question. What are Optimus's major goals for 2026?
Yeah, we're really excited about 2026 and what it means for the industry, and obviously still, a little bit of lingering transition from tax policy. So look for some clarity
Yeah.
here, which we expect to see soon, and expecting a really strong RVO target. Our goals are to continue to expand our partnerships, working to make B100 available at that retail level for large fleets to be able to then access biodiesel and adopt and deploy our technology. And in partnership with that, we're bringing on service partners and dealers. So as we've continued to grow and expand our footprint, we're looking for dealership partners and service partners across the country to be that first touch point with the customer. Again, as we grow, we've got 1,300 units in the field now. Continue to expect that to grow significantly. We're going to be onboarding service and sales partners to help us with those customer adoptions. But the key thing is really making sure that we can expand those retail fuel partnerships and make fuel available where these fleets need it on major freight corridors and major areas of biodiesel consumption opportunity.
Right on. Well, I hope the next time that we talk, that number of systems on the road has increased exponentially. Colin, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just really appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, we're looking forward to an exciting 2026, and I hope that I hope next time we talk that number is double or triple.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll bring you on again. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on. It's been very insightful and much appreciated.
Perfect. Thank you.
You bet. And to our listeners, thanks so much for tuning in. Be well and make sure you check out our past and upcoming episodes. Until next time.